So yeah, I don't think we've seen the Antichrist myself. I think it's yet to be seen.
But
I like your Jared Kushner thing. That's worth looking into.
Yeah, I think he might be alive.
Oh, I definitely think he's alive. No doubt about that.
And then another thing brought up with King Charles is that you know how he's the Prince of Wales or whatever. Supposedly Wales, the way with the castle and everything there, it was made to look like the city of David, because they know they're from the line of David. Supposedly.
No, that's funny. Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, they could. Well, if they were dispersed, that's part of the disbursement. You know, they could be it.
So is every Masonic building. So, there's an edit.
Yeah, no, we put it on rock. No edits here.
It got me smacking a mic earlier. I'm writing down stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna cut that out right there. That's what he said.
No, I think that it could be if they say they're from the line, then they know. Well, what was it in the movie The Knight's Tale? How did the nobles become noble? They took it from the edge of a sword. That's one of my favorite movies.
Knight's Tale?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
So, is that like the Sin Eater or something like that?
No, that's an old.
Yeah, that's a
cheesy one. The Knight's Tale.
Oh, I get that.
It's not cheesy. I guess what the cheese factor is, like they mix modern music with the.
But it's good.
But yeah, I like that movie.
Good message.
Yeah. I mean, it's no holds barred. Better yet, They Live.
Yeah. So, tell me, have you guys ever heard of Frazzle Drip?
You had mentioned this the other day, and I have never heard of this.
No. All right.
No? Okay, so
is it like the second cousin to Pizzagate?
Yeah, basically it's part of Pizzagate.
Is it really?
Yeah.
How do they come up with these names?
Well, it's supposed to be like Watergate. Now every time there's a conspiracy, it's gate.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 No, I haven't heard this one.
So basically, you can see pictures of it, and supposedly there's people that have seen the whole movie. I've never seen the whole movie, nor do I want to, because it's disgusting. Apparently, it shows you've heard of Rocket Pizza, right? Where all that pizza stuff happened.
I think so. Yeah.
Supposedly they had this underground tunnel, and all these pedophiles would come and have their way with kids and stuff like that. Well, I just seen pictures of it, but they were doing bad things to a person. Well, basically what they did is it was Hillary Clinton and one of her assistants, and they had this younger girl, and they essayed her, and they cut off her face. They ripped her skin off, and they were putting it on and taunting her with it while she was still alive. Yeah, they were doing some really bad stuff to this person. And and you could tell it was really the place because they were doing this on a ping pong table, right?
Oh my goodness.
And the serial number on the side of the ping pong table matched the serial number at Rocket Pizza.
Oh wow. And there's video of this?
Yeah. It's called Frazzle Drip.
Jeez.
We interviewed Tracy McDaniel. She worked with the FBI for 12 years in trafficking, and she knew the guy that made the movie Sound of Freedom. She worked with him, I think, on a couple things.
Yeah.
And that's a good show if you haven't listened to it. That's a really good one. So,
wow. It's almost like reminds me of the whole, we've heard of adrenochrome too, I take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they basically
apparently Al Gore is really hooked on it.
Adrenochrome?
Yeah.
Well, kind of like Monsters Inc. where they suck the adrenaline out of the kid. And,
for the screams.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah. A little hidden innuendo there.
Sight.
Disney's dark, man.
In plain sight.
Plain sight, you're right. Man, that's dark. I never thought. Jeez, we need to stop talking.
Well, have you guys ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard of adrenochrome, where the guy said, "Yeah, the Satanist owes me some money," and he offered me some adrenochrome, and I said, "Well, either give me some adrenochrome or just rip out their adrenal gland and give it to me so I can chew on it."
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Seriously, in the movie?
Yeah.
Well, it does have Johnny Depp in it, so.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what God sees every day?
No, I can't.
It'd break our minds.
I know.
into a million pieces.
Yeah.
What Christ took on the cross for us, man. Imagine what he had to do.
That's sad.
My God, why have you forsaken me? I never understood that line until we started digging into things and understanding things at a deeper level.
I know.
And it's like he did. God forsook him during that time. He separated himself from him so he could take on the full weight of what we were due.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens is God separates himself from you when you engage in sin. So when he's saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? And he's also hearkening back to the words in Psalms. But yeah, I never understood that until a few years ago. It's pretty heavy. We think of the physical torture that Christ went through, but the emotional torture that Christ went through had to be, make the physical pale in comparison. But
yeah.
Well, to sweat blood,
dude.
You got to be going through some stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy duty, right? Wow, no, I haven't dug into the world of frazzle drip.
Yeah,
that's just. But we know the Clintons are wicked because, like, how many people associated with him can die before we finally go? I think there's something there. I think might be something going on there.
Here's a tidbit. Here is a tidbit. Brent Hagg, his cousin, was Clinton's lawyer.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Whew. Guy in our church, his cousin was Clinton's lawyer.
Wow.
Is that something to be proud of?
No. It's just that's how small the world is.
Well, here, I'm gonna do this again. Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because apparently Bill Clinton and the guy from Tyson Chicken were some of the biggest drug dealers in Arkansas at the time.
Oh yeah,
they were selling pounds and pounds of cocaine, and the guy from Tyson's Chicken and Bill Clinton.
I just thought of Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's probably why they did that.
See that?
Yeah,
you never seen that, have you?
I've seen the first episode.
Okay, so when you get further down the line, one of the biggest meth dealers in the whole show, and a lot of the show hinges around his character, is Los Pollos Hermanos, the Brothers Chicken, and it's a dude that is literally his front is he owns a chicken franchise.
Well, we watched Marie and I and my wife. We watched a documentary about that, and 2 boys in Arkansas.
Yeah,
they were killed. Yeah,
that's what it's leading to.
They just stumbled upon it like a meeting.
Not only that. They killed the 2 kids, right? And when their family started a big, trying to take it to court, hey, they killed our kids, and they ended up dead too. Yeah. They ended up killing six different people that were related to the kids before they showed up and like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's cool.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
It's like all the whistleblowers getting disappeared.
Yeah, I know.
There's another movie with Tom Cruise called American Made, which is based on a true story, right?
Yep.
I mean, we know
who gets him out of jail when he gets locked up in Arkansas.
That's right. It just is.
Bill Clinton just called, let him out.
Yeah, exactly. You ever seen that one?
I've seen that clip.
So yeah, he's basically it's a true story. I forget the character he's playing, but he wound up working with Pablo Escobar and the CIA. Yeah, and the CIA, because the whole deal with with Pablo Escobar and that whole cartel winds up getting involved with Reagan and Iran Contra.
No.
Oh no, it's crazy.
He was innocent. Come on.
And who's behind it all? The CIA, baby.
The CIA.
The CIA.
Yeah. And then they get the coke and then they sell it to Fast Freddy in LA.
Yeah, they wind up
cooking up crack.
Yeah.
He didn't know the whole time.
Yeah.
I've actually met some people. Well, I was in LA for a while, and I met one guy who said he knew Fast Freddy, and I guess Fast Freddy was a good guy, but he was still doing what he was doing. And he said he would actually get these. He would buy a house or start buying a house. And to make it a trap house, he would get one of his guys and, okay, you're going to sit here and you're going to sell crack for me. And one of my friends, his brother said, yeah, he told me, but he already knew him. If you messed up, he would go break your leg or he'd go break your arm. And you had to go tell everybody you fell out of a tree. So he went to my friend's brother and told him, hey, I'm going to open up this house. I want you to go and run it for me. And he goes, nah, man, I ain't trying to fall out of no trees. I'm good.
That's what happens, man. Yeah. You wind up getting enough people. It's like we talked about before, like Kennedy assassination. How many people that were in Dealey Plaza that day got, unalived because they knew stuff or refused to let things go or whatever. Come on, man.
That's what they do. A big can of worms. That is a big can of worms.
Oh, yeah.
You know that not only do they know who the people were there that were trying to shoot them, they know exactly how much they were paid. They were all paid. There was 8 people, right? And each one was paid, I think, like $25,000 to try to take them out. And it was actually a joint venture between the CIA and the Italian mafia.
Yeah, the mafia.
Apparently the mafia was mad because he made them all kinds of promises.
Mm-hmm.
And they helped get him elected by all the Teamsters and stuff like that. And when he didn't pull through, as a matter of fact, he cut them all off. Right before he was president, you see all kinds of pictures of him with Frank Sinatra and all these big people in the underworld. But as soon as he became president, he cut them all off. Didn't talk to him anymore.
Yeah, what happened with that was...
I like Frank, by the way. I like Frank Sinatra. So
he's definitely involved with the mob. Ain't no doubt about that. But no, a great movie for this is actually The Irishman, which is the one that came out on Netflix a while back with Pesci and De Niro and all those guys, because it gets into the Buffalino crime family, because it was the Buffalino family that they allege in the movie. That was actually the mafia wing of that helped kind of do some of those things, because they were also behind the Bay of Pigs invasion. And ultimately what happened there was, and this is not arguable, like you can clearly see this, you go back and just all you got to do is research a little bit and you'll find it. Their father, Bobby, and Robert's father, or I'm sorry, the two Kennedy boys, you know what I'm saying?
He helped
their dad Joe.
Yeah, Joe was absolutely friends with the mafia, and the mafia helped get him elected. And the first thing he did when he got in office is he turned around and he stuck Bobby in as attorney general and told him to go after the Teamsters, which was the source of their money. Well, you want to wind up dead fast, go after the mafia's money. That'll get you dead quick. That, and what else did he say? I'm going to fracture the CIA into a million pieces. Man, I'm like, this dude did everything he could to get himself shot.
And that apparently he was trying to get us back on the gold standard too.
Yep, that's another one that'll get you shot. Mess with the money and mess with the powerful agencies that are behind all these things, and you're going to wind up dead fast. That's just like,
Iraq. Why did we go to war with Iraq? Because the real reason is they started accepting the euro. That's the real reason.
Like the Bank of England was very upset. They were like, "Hey, come help." they were an ally.
Of course.
It was the Queen.
Follow the money, baby.
It was the Queen saying, "George, come help." Because
when we went to when we got off the oil standard and it became the petrodollar, is because the U.S. went to every oil producing company and said, "Hey, check it out. You're only going to accept the dollar to sell your oil, and we got your back."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah. Right.
Don't sell in the oil. We don't have your back, and you got to deal with us.
You know, it's just funny to me. Like, I hope these people had a good, fun life while they were here. I mean, I'm playing the long game.
Yeah, I know.
Enjoy your eternity in the fiery pits of hell, man, because I am not going to be there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, again. This is completely wicked, man. These people are evil beyond our understanding of what they're capable of.
Well, I know I said that movie we watched yesterday that answers all of the conspiracy theories from the 60s was Unfrosted on Netflix. It's a spoof.
I have to watch this.
And it was written by Jerry Seinfeld, but it's about the cereal wars.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yes.
It's not a comedy.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy. It's you watch it and you're like, it brings every conspiracy theory from the 60s.
Also, it's like that old Mel Brooks History of the World.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We were just talking about that, and you said the Inquisition earlier, and I was like, the Inquisition. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. Dan.
Oh, Hitler on Ice.
That's right.
I just watched but it twists everything to where it's comedy. But you got to watch it. It's like it pokes fun at it, but it's like it brings everything in to like. It's almost like this was happening, but this was going on as well. Like during the Civil War, you know what was invented during the Civil War? A1 steak sauce. In the middle of the Civil War, somebody wanted steak sauce. So
Probably because the meat they were getting wasn't good at all.
That's right.
So no matter how much evil is going on, there is always something else to distract everybody with.
Well, that's how tartar sauce got invented.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because the Mongols were eating horse meat. They were eating human meat. So they came up with the tartar sauce to put it on there so it wouldn't taste as bad.
Wow. Little did we know. Hellman's really was the name of one of the guys that they were eating. Hey, man, he's like, hey, they were going to hell for this, man. Like, here it is, Hellman's.
Jeffrey Dahmer was having his grandma over for dinner, and she goes, Jeffrey, I don't like these friends of yours. He goes, Grandma, then just eat the vegetables.
Oh, there's a joke there. I won't touch it. Oh my goodness.
So, have you guys ever heard of the Islamic mark of the beast?
The Islamic mark of the beast?
Yeah.
No, this is news.
Okay, so apparently, you know how John seen the number 666, right?
Oh yes, I just listened to a thing on this past week. Yeah. I have.
Speak on it, since your mind is probably a little fresher than mine on it.
Don't have a Joe moment.
It was. I don't know the actual words but it was like.
It's the letters.
It's the letters. Like
how in Hebrew, how each letter is a number as well.
Yeah. So it's the Hebrew for the 6.
So
yes,
actually, that part is written in Greek. So, anyways, it would be the Greek letters. What he said, seen as 666, was if you look on the how Islamic countries or ISIS they wear a green headband.
Yeah.
Well, on there it says Bismillah.
Yeah.
And which is, it looks like the letters for 666 in the Greek. I think it's like a little squiggly line and some swords, cross swords, and I forgot what the last one is, but it looks like
that makes, when I heard that, I was like, that makes sense, because
their thing that they're wearing is the mark of the beast
on here and here.
Yeah.
On their armbands.
Yeah, on their armband. And that makes sense because of the 4 horsemen, because in the original, one of the horses was green.
Yeah. The pale
and
horse.
they did, and then they didn't translate they said grizzled or whatever, which means green. And so whatever he went out, he conquered, and death followed him.
Yeah, well, if you look at all the flags of Islamic countries, they're the 4 horsemen: white, red, black, and green.
Yeah,
every single Islamic country.
Yeah, you can't make it up, man. Nope. Where's that foil hat?
That's the thing. And when I heard, I just was like listening to that, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is insane.
Yeah. You had postulated that when we were talking. I forget what show it was. We've done about 50 of them now. So actually, this is probably more than 50 that we've got.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what we talked about at one point when we were talking about Revelation.
So that kind of to spiral back. You know how I said one of my possibles is Obama. Now the reason I said Obama because supposedly you know who the Mahdi is, right?
Yeah.
That's their savior for Islam. That's their Messiah. Well, supposedly he's supposed to be a ruler somewhere. He's a ruler somewhere, and he steps down, and he's no longer the ruler there. But another country asks him, "Come be our ruler. You were such a good ruler over there. Come now, rule over us." And that's when he takes on the role and sets up the 13th Caliphate. So if you think about it, to the world that is pretty much blind, Obama was this great person. He helped us out so much, which is a total lie, but they made it look that way.
Right.
So and I'm not sure if you've ever heard, but supposedly he's a secret Muslim. Like
what? No.
You mean Barack Hussein Obama is a secret Muslim?
Exactly.
No.
You mean like his dad was?
Well, apparently he wasn't born in Hawaii. He was born in Indonesia, in a Muslim part of the town.
I thought he was from Kenya.
Yeah.
Wait,
his grandma's from Kenya.
I thought his mother was just full of midichlorians.
Well, supposedly he was born
Yoda
from a
won.
satanic ritual.
Oh,
He
really?
was born from a satanic ritual that they had, and he there was this guy who lived in Indonesia, and he had a cult, a satanic cult. And if they have a picture of Obama next to this guy, and his face cut in half, the other guy's face, and they look another dead ringer.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, there's so much stuff here. Who knows? Like you and I were talking yesterday about old boy up in Canada being Fidel Castro's love child.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Trudeau, yeah. Because when you look at his dad, Pierre, I mean, they don't look anything like. But when you look at him with like when you see Fidel without the beard and the mustache, and you put them together, and it's like, whoa.
Barbara Bush and Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, have you heard that one?
What's that?
Barbara, go ahead, Ben.
Aleister Crowley is Barbara Bush's
granddaughter.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Oh, speaking of which, you guys had never heard about the real reason why Bush died?
Talking senior, obviously.
Yeah, senior. No? Okay.
He finally started saying where he was on November 22nd of 63 when Kennedy got shot. That'll get you dead quick.
No. That's not the reason he died. And on a side note, when they asked him and he was talking about Kennedy dying, he laughed. He stopped, did a little chuckle. He knew he's the only person that didn't know where he was that day.
You know, it's just something that's easy to forget that day. I mean, you're near the head of the CIA and in charge of so much evil. It's hard to remember where you are at every moment when things are happening.
Yeah.
But, you've all heard of Q, right? You've heard of Q, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
that's pretty fascinating.
I was following Q. Well, not really following because it's kind of hard to, see where he's coming from.
Yeah, right.
But, during that time, there was people that were doing some covering about his Q drops, and if you look at the funeral, right, you apparently what happened is when Trump came into office, he realized, or he was gonna do something about the human trafficking. That was his first thing to go after. And who's a big person who's been doing all the human trafficking for years? Apparently, Papa Bush. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
So, because of what he was doing, and since he did some of that while he was president, it was treason. So you don't have to be tried under regular law. When you commit treason, you're under military law, which means they don't really have to let anybody know what's going on. And apparently, they gave him an offer. They said, "Okay, we can either drag this out, make it public, and your reputation is going to be tarnished. Okay, we're going to throw everything at you, but because you're a president or you were president, we're giving you this option. Or you can accept that you did treason. We can give you the death penalty. You can die, and we won't say anything about this. And your legacy lives on as you were a great president. You were a good person." Mm-hmm. And apparently, since he was already 95, he said, "Oh, shoot me up,
just off me."
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, we need like an electric couch.
Well, I guess the reason they even found all this out and connected all the dots was because George Bush Jr. and Trump were actually friends, right? On from back in the day.
Yeah.
So apparently he came and he told Bush, "Hey, this is what's going to happen. I know everything. Why don't you just be a witness for these tribunals and stuff?" And apparently all this happened through military tribunals, so it's not public knowledge. And as a matter of fact, if you see in the funeral when George Bush comes up and he hands his brother a note, and his brother's like, "No, is this true?"
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yup, that's true." And apparently, according to Q, what was written on there was the treason that he committed. Not only that, because of this, he sent indictments to all the other presidents. So if you look at that scene, they all walk in the church. Nobody wants to look at Trump. Everybody's like, Well, everybody opens up their program, right? And boom, you see a couple of them, an extra leaflet comes out. Apparently, that was a subpoena for all these people to show up. And then you see Jimmy Carter, he opens up his and nothing falls out of his. And he's like,
Hey, I didn't get the extra dinner menu.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, poor Jimmy, the only one that was probably actually decent. Oh my goodness, man, you can't make this stuff up, dude. It's insane.
Yeah.
And we're only going to find out just probably the surface level fraction pieces of it. Have you seen the Octopus Murders? Have you watched this on Netflix?
No.
Oh my goodness, you need to go watch the Octopus Murders. I know it seems weird on the surface, but really ultimately it goes right down a lot of these alleys that we're talking about.
I'm halfway through it.
Yeah, and don't leave the room. You're going to need to stay and keep your focus on the television.
I haven't finished it because I've been too scared to watch it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
It's dark.
Yeah, it is very dark, and I'm wondering what's going to grab.
But it gets into all these things and like the web, because the octopus is what the octopus is this. It's like if you were doing connect the dots by number, and all of these dots wind up forming this gigantic octopus, and how all these things are connected. And really, it starts off with some software who stole the software? Was the CIA?
Is CIA?
The CIA
or the FBI?
Yeah,
Or
somebody. FBI.
Catholics in action.
Look at that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's good.
apparently they're all Catholics. A lot of
Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, we need to talk to the guy that he had recommended too, because he's seen some stuff in the Vatican vault. We could probably spend a show talking to him just about that, man.
Yeah.
Boy, wouldn't I? I'd love to have a day in the Vatican vault, but then again, I don't want to have a day in the Vatican vault.
I would. There's some books I'd want to look for.
Whew. Boy, you might find some things you never forget in that Vatican vault.
Apparently, he found the Gospels, right? But they're like mashed up in the middle of other books. So you know that there was a time when the Vatican was going and swooping up everything Jewish and burning it and stuff. Yeah. So you got these books written in other languages, or there's something totally different. But right in the middle is you got a gospel, or you got a book in the Bible that was originally written in Hebrew, but it's in between this stuff of people that at sea, things to know, kind of like an almanac or a dictionary, something you're not gonna read through. So that's how they preserve their stuff. And that's how he found it. He found a piece here, found a piece there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he'd be a fascinating guy to talk to, but yeah, there's so much, man. There's so much to all this stuff. It's insane. But yeah, you need to check out the Octopus Murders. That's one where because you start off there, but that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. And baby, there is, they say, well, the 80% is under the water. Yeah. Well, there's like 99.9% is under the water on that one.
I know, that's the scary thing.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying, but it gets into who comprises. Ultimately, there are just a few handful of guys that comprise the octopus. And I shall not say, since neither of you have seen it, who those folks are, but
I need to finish it.
You do.
They got 8 arms, so they can kill 8 people at once.
Just like when you build tunnels in CERN. Was that 9?
That's 9.
9 people.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So I wanted to ask you guys. All right, we covered a little bit about the Nephilim last time, but what about what you guys' take on like other creatures like skinwalkers and vampires and werewolves?
You want a skinwalker story?
I'll do it.
Buckle up.
My parents,
Go ahead, Ben.
Parents were missionaries to the American Indians. They were out in Wyoming on Wind River Reservation back in the early 70s. And every time I tell this, I get goosebumps. Mm-hmm. Because it's so real. It was before my time, but my dad has always told the story growing up. He went to New Mexico to help with let me get the chief's
nephew,
the chief's son-in-law, if that makes sense.
Okay,
their grandson-in-law. So down in New Mexico, and so they were in this trailer, and the medicine man put on a skin of a wolf, and he turned into the wolf.
And your dad seen this?
Yes, he was there in the trailer. And the wolf climbed the trailer and he was trying to kill them. He was stuffing rags down in the exhaust vent of the furnace. He was like rocking the trailer back and forth. He's like beating it, scratching it, howling, screaming. And
you can't just get to the horror story, Ben. What led up to this? Like they just brought the guy in. Hey, and he just
because the medicine man heard my dad was there and he wanted to kill him. He was a man of God. He was going to kill him. And
that's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
There's a man of God here on the reservation.
Yes.
Okay.
And so,
and this guy's outside of. So his dad is inside the trailer. This dude is outside the trailer.
Yes, and they had barbed wire all around the trailer and everything. And so my dad's like, "What's going on?" And the lady, she's like, "Oh, that's the medicine man. He turned into a wolf." I mean, this is just like everyday stuff. And he's trying to kill you.
Yeah.
He said when he found out you were coming, he wanted to kill you. My dad's like, "Oh, okay." She said, "Don't worry. He'll be here tomorrow morning and I'll patch him up." Whoa. And so it's like all night long he's doing this. Goes away, and the next morning the guy comes back. He's shredded, like just cut all over his body. She starts patching him up like nothing ever happened.
And your dad was there watching him get patched up?
Yes. And my mom and dad were adopted by the chief. He Grandpa Weasel, that's how we knew him. He was the head of the peyote religion. Oh. I mean, he wrote the book on it and everything. He was the grandson of Sacagawea. This is like good Indian like lore stuff. And he got the power. Grandpa Weasel got the power to heal in the 30s at a Sundance powwow. Now
he got this from God or
no, through his gods. Oh. His gods. He could heal people, he could curse people. Supposedly he blinded his sister or sister-in-law. He cursed her with blindness. And so his Grandpa Weasel's son was sick in the hospital. And he came over and he told my dad, he said, "I need your help." He goes, "My spirits are too weak to heal my son. Heal my son." He's like, "Whatever." So he goes to the hospital with him, and he was told the family to get out, and he goes, he's going to pray with him. And my dad's like, "I'll pray." And my dad's like, "He's going to die." I mean, that's how sick he was. So my dad prays that he would be healed. And then he goes, "That's good. Let's go home." So he takes my dad home. Like the next day, he was released from the hospital. And my dad never understood what he meant by his spirits were too weak until just like recently. He was talking to me about it. And he said, it's because his gods weren't as strong as my God. And he said he showed him the box of his gods. It was a feather, some peyote, and something else. He said, "These are my gods, but your God is much more powerful than my God." And so that became a very fascinating thing for our family. It was like he gave the bands to my dad that he wore when he got a quote unquote gift of healing, but they weren't from God. They were from his gods. And so this whole spiritual warfare really is,
it's real.
It's real. And my family has seen it firsthand. I mean, we're going to get my dad on the show and have him talk.
Yeah.
They were out there, I think, 2 years, and then they came back home. Because of, I think, Wounded Knee 2 that happened. And then, I don't know if you've ever heard of Wounded Knee 2.
I've heard of Wounded Knee. That's Sitting Bull, right?
No, that's where the government went in, like with Gatling guns, and just wiped out the whole village. Wounded Knee 2, I think, happened in Michigan. Pretty much the same thing back in the 70s. I mean, pretty much the government did the same thing. And so then they were just trying to kill every white man that they saw. And my dad and mom moved back home. But the fact that I have a skinwalker story is amazing. Like I know,
terrifying,
but amazing. And it just shows that God is real and there's a spiritual warfare going on that most Christians don't understand what's going on.
And you know what's really harmful or really bad and puts us in a kind of a not as strong as they are is that if you were to talk to another Christian and you would tell them about things you see in the spiritual, you're crazy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You need to go get some mental help.
Those things can't happen.
You need to get on pill. Yeah, you're crazy. But if you talk to people that are Satanists or stuff like that, it's like whatever to them. Because they see things in the spiritual. They astral project. They do all these stuff, and they know they're gonna stay quiet about it. They're not gonna confirm what you're telling to somebody else. But yeah. So and a lot of people in the church, they don't understand it, and they knock each other down because of it.
Yeah, I've seen a ghost before. So I mean,
I've seen ghosts. I've seen things into the spiritual realm. Like, okay, I don't want to be obscene or anything like that, but I was like, there was one time, and it's happened more than once, but I seen one dude, and I'm not sure if I was talking to him or something, but he ended up going a distance, and I see him looking at a girl, and while something just happened, and I could see into the spiritual realm, and there was two demons that came and wrapped around him and started doing things to him to entice him, if you know what I mean, while he's looking at this girl. And I think this girl was like young. So that is crazy. That is crazy that I see something like that. Like, have you guys ever heard of Trey Smith?
I have not.
You might want to check him out. Well, he did a video about this girl. She was out there in Russia. I guess this guy was walking his dog, and he was recording it. His dog sees something, gets really scared, but he turns off to a corner and he sees a little floating girl. The little girl is flying, right? And her mother or her sister reaches down and tries to pull her down. Now he slows down the video and he starts, tracing things, and you see all kinds of demonic stuff in the background. Like the leaves in the background had turned into a big cat and scared his dog away. Something looked like it was an alien walking, and it had like 6 fingers. So I mean, that. Yeah, exactly. And that's what made me start seeing things in the spiritual. And I've seen things like it was a bad aura going on, and I could see like Hindu gods walking around. It might sound crazy to you, but I've seen it.
There's another guy. I forget his last name. His name's Micah. His first name's Micah, but he supposedly has the ability to see into the spiritual realm too, and he sees all the time angels, demons, and has even conversed with some of the angels. And it's one of those where it's so outlandish when you hear him talk about it. You're like, this dude is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But then there's elements of his story where it's like it's so out there that it's like, I don't know how anybody can make that up.
Yeah.
So you don't really know. I don't, it's what he's one of those at the end of the day, you don't really know what to make of him, but it's like, man, I still believe that this stuff is very possible because we know that God gifts people with abilities to do things. You have spiritual giftings. We all do. And the other thing too, that we've kind of been talking about here is, this stuff is real. And I know one of the things that you had sent over that maybe you wanted to talk about, which this is a perfect segue into it, is, black magic or whatever we would think of is
magic
real.
With a K.
Yeah, yes. Right. It's real stuff, like Aleister Crowley, we mentioned him earlier, and Jack Parsons and all these guys that are these, Satanists. They're able to tie into things like you said, the spiritual realm, but, and it is so sad, again, like you said, that the Christians these days are so dismissive of these things. And it's like, you don't even know your own Bible because you can clearly go back into the story of the Exodus and you can see when Moses goes before Pharaoh and
I was just thinking of this.
He throws a staff down on the ground.
Yeah, that's real.
What do they do?
They do the same thing.
The two magicians throw their staff down, and they didn't have like any problem reproducing the things that Moses was able to do. The problem they had was undoing what Moses was doing. They couldn't stop it. They could duplicate it, but they couldn't make it stop. And that was the real problem.
Yeah, I was thinking, Aleister Crowley and Jack Parsons, that's like Janus and Jambers.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Yeah, that's a good call.
So,
the thing too is like, I think there's some cultures in this world that they don't even know what they're doing. Like I come like we were talking a little bit about how I'm Mexican and the Catholic Church is very ingrained into my culture.
My wife's
to the point,
family's Mexican, so.
Well, it's to the point where there's so much ancient religion mixed in with the Catholic Church, and the reason being is because when the conquistadors came, they converted everybody. Like, you got to be Christian or you're gonna die, which they had to just convert themselves. Like I was just telling you, they had to convert from Judaism. So I don't know why they were doing it, passing it along. Oh, but anyways, they're telling these people you got to convert or die, or basically. And what these people did is instead of just converting, they're like, no, we're going to continue to worship our gods. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it in a cover, and we're going to do it in a way that they're not going to understand. So that's where Santeria comes from. They take their god, and now their god is going to take the form of one of the saints. So if you ever see like a lot of the Catholic religion, they have different candles with different saints on them, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the god that they're worshiping.
Yep.
Just like there was an Aztec god called Ometeo, and a lot of people she would appear as a woman or a man, but apparently people started worshiping Mary.
Yeah.
But they were really worshiping Ometeo, but they did that. Okay, so you got to understand that because of this, there's a lot of black magic in the Catholic religion when it comes to Mexico. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, I remember my mom, she took me to go get a cleaning, a limpia. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, but they take an egg and they say prayers and they rub this egg all the way. Yeah. And then they break the egg and they see what's wrong with you. And they say, they gave him the eye. Apparently that's what was wrong with them. So they gave me the eye. The heck does that mean? They're looking at me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But you can tell there's something. They get palm fronds and shaking. Yep. They blow water on you, and it's some crazy stuff. You can tell it's witchcraft.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
and that's when it comes with healing. That's something that I heard. So they come and they say they can heal, right? They're healing from a bad perspective. It's not God's power; it's the devil's power.
Yeah.
Apparently, they don't really have the power to heal. What they do is they know it's a demon affecting and giving that illness. So all they do is they move that from here to there. So let's say you have a shoulder. Yeah, you have a demon is messing with your shoulder. Now you got a shoulder pain. Well, they'll just move it to your knee. So your shoulder's better, but now you got a knee pain.
Demons need to leave my back alone.
Yeah. My son was working in Mexico City at the first part of this year. And so my wife was like, I'll come and visit you because there's some family that she's never met, but friends with on Facebook. And so she goes down in February. And so she meets them and everything, and they're talking, and they go to the pyramid that's there close to Mexico City, where the, where is it? Where, I can't remember the,
Tenochtitlan?
Where the Virgin appeared to the guy with the flowers. Yes, they went there. And so there was a priest giving blessings, with the doing this and everything. And so
I remember this.
And so they're like, let's try to get a blessing, let's try to get a blessing. And there's a group of nuns in front of them with umbrellas. And every time he throws the water, the nuns move the umbrella so they don't get the blessing. It keeps missing them.
Maybe God was like, I'm all the blessing you need. Move on.
I know. And so it was just, she said it was a very comical thing because if you're supposed to get the water on you, why do you have an umbrella? And I asked her, I said, did you feel any weirdness? And she was like, no more weird than I feel at a normal Catholic mass. Well, she grew up Catholic, but she's not anymore. And so she was like, no more than I did then. She goes, but I could tell that it's very twisted down there. It's very backwards with things, and that got us to a deeper discussion of religion. Of it's just not a surface issue; it's a deeper. Why is there such a falseness and turning the gospel upside down? That shows the spiritual warfare that is going on. And you're right, it is like we are being attacked physically, spiritually, and emotionally, but nobody addresses that. Nobody addresses the deeper issues. And I think that's the problem with the American church, is we don't address the spiritual aspect. We just approach the physical, and that's it. And we hope, we hope that the doctors can heal you, or we hope that surgery can heal this, or in the medicine, but we never address the spiritual aspect. And I know this might sound bad, I have more respect for the pagan religion side of it, on that part where they respect the spirits, than the church itself, because we have lost our spirituality altogether.
Yeah, we're dead. We're dead.
Well,
we're dead from that perspective.
If you think about it, these people that worship Satan, they worship Satan from like 12 at night to like 5 in the morning. They spend 5 hours a day worshiping the devil, and we think we're gonna fight that off with 1 hour once a week.
Yeah,
that ain't gonna happen.
No, that's right. Very much so.
And like I was saying earlier with the Catholic Church, where a lot of it is incorporated and these people don't know what they're doing. Like it's still part of the Catholic religion. Like there's these saints called like Saint Simon, and there's some really crazy stuff going on. And they're the drug trafficker cults. They worship this saint, right? Or they like to this saint, and they got little effigies, little idols of them that they put in their house, and they will put a shot of tequila and a cigar in their mouth. And when they leave, when they come back in the morning, the cigar is smoked and the tequila's drunk.
They just need to put some sand down on the ground to see when the priest families come up and come in there and smoke. Talk about that's a little Bell and the Dragon action.
Yeah.
I just instantly thought of that scene in Major League. They got Joe Boo. He's in the locker and he's like, nobody steals.
In his locker.
Nobody steals Joe Boo's rum. Nobody. Oh my goodness. Well, Sergio, thanks, dude. I appreciate you having us, man.
I appreciate you guys too. Thank you guys again, and for my listeners, thank you for coming for another episode here at Grotto in the Tar Pit. Thank you guys.
All right, man. Bye. Take care.
Well, this thing never stops recording.